Hey everyone, this is my third favorite spot on Rocktopia's Hell instance or Hell Zone. I'm not sure how you describe it exactly. Um, in the outer circle of Hell, I like to hit this teleporter here. Right down here is you see there's some trees and stuff. It's probably only enough to do probably about one or maybe two tools here, and so that's why it makes the top list, but it's at the bottom of the list as far as that goes. Um, Number one spot down here. I, I wish they would. How do I turn that off? Ah, there we go. Down here, number one spot. Spillover spot. Number two spot with the spillover spot. And you can break six, seven tools right in this zone right here. And then this is just if it's super crowded. I'm just looking for a change of scenery. I'll come up here at this spot right here. And these are the three big spots I found um, down here that you can harvest a lot of trees in. And we're gonna shoot for getting some skills. Um, Again, you get the looter skills, the peripheral ones, not the main ones, by doing this. Some of them are hard to work up. Otherwise, zoology is hard to work up. You can get it through this or through pet taming, I think, or scanning. If you go around wasting, or not wasting pet, if you go around using your pet to scan people or animals, you'll get some zoology, I believe. Which you're going to have to do later to get xenobiology once you unlock it in any event, because that's the only way I found to work that up. Let's take a small skill pill here. We're going to pause and take this baby pill. We got it out of a box, and so I thought we would just try and burn it up. Just like one of those normal stronghold boxes. Occasionally I like to buy a few just to have some fun opening them or whatnot. I try not to go too crazy on it, because I prefer buying the ammo with the skill pills. I feel I get a little bit more bang for my buck that way. Occasionally, I like to have open the boxes and just kind of hang out and visit and open a few of those. Um, we did that with the Christmas boxes not too long ago and ended up getting uh, what was it? It was this little amp here, um, which is actually bigger than I can use on any of my weapons that I'm actually qualified to use. And so one day I will have a cool life stealing laser amp to utilize on my little rifle. But my biggest rifle is still the amp is overpowered for, and I don't want to waste it. And subsequently, I didn't want to just sell it either. It looked really fancy. I wanted to use it up. But I definitely had to wait to get qualified to use it. As in, like, it's still a work in progress. I think I would have to get up to the laser 40 to be able to use it. And I think I'm only on the 30 right now. Although I'm getting close to pushing into the 35 maybe. Well, we're getting some geology and some of the normal peripheral skills that I like to see. So that's really nice. Again, this area is not as densely packed as the other two areas that I visited about and briefly showed you on the map. And so this is kind of like the overflow in case there's, for whatever reason, a large amount of people suddenly tree hunting. The most I've ever seen is one person down here. at a time. Like that's not true. I guess one time I saw two people. Um, but for the most part, it doesn't seem to be a high activity for people. And I don't know if it's just that most people don't know that it goes into your looter skill, and then by boosting up these sub skills, you can actually get the tiniest bit of more returns, as I like to call it. Because they're saying 0 to 7% on 0 to 100 levels of looter, or something like that. I don't remember the exact um, post from the Calypso team, but they did confirm that it does increase the trade terminal value of your loots ever so slightly, is what I recall about it. And so being able to take a little bit and get those boosted up so that they're not a net drag on you um, is, in my mind, a pretty good deal. And this is the cheapest way to boost them up across the board. I mean, I don't know where else you get genetics, probably from like body shaping, cosmetology type stuff, maybe. Um, but I imagine that would be kind of expensive um, to utilize. And so, again, I think this is going to be the cheapest route, especially because the first time out when we landed, we got like 13 and a half ped out of a 15 ped tool. So we got 90% returns. Um, we went down and hunted that second area I showed on the map a little bit ago. And we actually came back with 14.25 or something. We had right around 95% returns on the second round out. And so it's pretty routine to get 90% returns doing this, especially once you're past the first few levels. You get up to level 5, level 10, it really kind of bottoms out in the 90% zone. Every so often, you'll get a boost up, and you'll get a 95% or a um, break even run or something. Very rarely do I drop below 90%, though. 85% maybe. And that's but that the caveat to that is only if I'm using the level 1 tools. If I'm using the level 3 tool to cut level 1 trees, I see my returns drop significantly sometimes, down into the 80% zone. And so when I say that, I'm talking about level 1 tools on all the trees. I seem to get a around 90-95% returns. When I start upgrading and trying to get better skills or faster skills by like using the level 3 on the level 1, or I'm just trying to get enough to do that basic butt joint, that's when I see my returns really start to suffer. And so that's why I choose not to use the level 3 tool for the better skills. Um, Outside the cost, it costs so much more. The returns I feel kind of dip as well. And I tracked it a few times when I was on Tolan. Not this last time, but the time before. I was actually harvesting the level 3 trees there and selling the boards. And so I kind of tracked the difference between the level 3 tool and the level 1 tool. And then I did a big run at the end before I left the planet on that basic butt joint. And so I've done two 1,000 click runs on it now. The first one was before I left last time, this very last time before we came here. And then the time before when I went there and was doing all that tree harvesting and selling of the boards, I did a really big run before I left as well. Just to try and pop some blueprints. I was pretty new. They just added a bunch of furniture. And so I was just curious what we could kind of generate. But I didn't have the skills to really utilize much of it. My carpentry skills really low. my woodworking is low, and so it's I wasn't about to be going into business there. We'll just say. How are we doing on this tool? We're about 2/3 of the way through the tool. We got about 3 ped for about 3.5 ped. And so the returns on this round aren't as impressive, but you got to have both sides to that bell curve, so to speak. And where the average is at 90%, you'll have a little bit on that. The bell curve on the right side will be the you got a little better than 90%, and the bell curve on the left side will be kind of the you did worse than 90%. But as you can tell, there's a fair amount of trees here still. You can break one or two tools. We'll be able to work through here and work around that big pile of vixens um, to get a fair amount of trees here. And so, but between these three areas, you can pretty much, if you wanted to cut trees 24/7 on Rocktopia, it would be an option for you. I think you would get bored after a little bit because the same activity again and again for hours. Um, and, variety is the spice of life and all that. And so I like to mix it up. I still like to come out and do this a bunch just for the skills. And it's kind of relaxing, especially at the end of a workday or whatnot. You just kind of kick back, relax. That's when I do my swanting. That's when I do my tree cutting a lot of times, where I'm just like, nah, let's just get a couple tools. We'll just go break a few, get a little bit of skills, just kind of kick back, relax a little bit, not do anything too stressful or strenuous. And so as you can tell, we're just kind of circling around the edge here. Um, there's a whole bunch of, they're the lower level vampires at this section. Um, but I still don't want to have to kill a bunch of them. And so, especially because we're just trying to work up our these peripheral skills. We're not trying to have a hunt today, or rather at this time today. Plus, I don't really want to hunt the vampires anyway. I think we'll go hunt some werewolves or something else instead. And some zombies. I want to do some zombie hunting. Maybe we'll run some instances. Um, my buddy gave me a few instance keys when we met up on Tolan for this planet, and so I might go do maybe like the subway or that booty raid. I'm not sure what the other options are. I know I don't want to go do that werewolf mine one. They still haven't fixed it. I don't think they're ever really intending on fixing it, but I would really like them to because you get a bunch of mining materials at the end of it. But it's bugged to where there's a invisible force field preventing you from getting to the loot box. And so you do it, you get stuck in there until the boot out time, and then when you put in a ticket, they'll send you some universal ammo back. And so it's nice to get something back, but it would be nice if they would either remove it or fix it instead of just leaving it in to catch random newer players unawares. Because all the older players know about it. In fact, when I visited in Rocktopia, they were like, "Oh, well, you went into this instance, you're just stuck, blah blah blah," and they outlined how I was going to have to wait it out and then go get um, basically reimbursed, which is a big downer. They should they should put that same invisible barrier on the entrance, so you just can't enter it with a sign that says "broken" or "abandoned." But that's neither here nor there. Maybe one day they'll get around to fixing it. Um, we'll see. They haven't even codexed this planet, which is I mean, it's the last planet to not have codex. So hopefully they'll I don't know, get forced into it. I don't know if forced into it is a good term. Hopefully they'll move into actually doing that. It kind of seems like the planet's partners got his attention somewhere else, and is not actively really updating Rocktopia. And people joke that he has the has figured out the no update update to where it's a update and it meets all his legal obligations to update the planet, but he doesn't actually change anything or do much. And he does. Um, I mean, kudos, I guess, to figuring that out. But it would be nice if some of the stuff like that instance would get a little bit of attention. Um, it might help with the player base here. Player base is pretty small. Seems like it's a lot of sweaters and a couple of high-end hunters, uh, and a few craft people. Soul, um, Winter Elf, that Queen person, the Wolf person. I don't remember their names super well right off the top of my head. I don't spend a ton of time on Rocktopia. I kind of bounce around a lot in case you guys haven't noticed. To where I'll go somewhere to capitalize on a daily and do some codexing or some other stuff there, and then I'll move on to the next area, check out some other thing I've heard about. Doing all right on some skills. Slowly churning through these. Like I said, I don't think we'll actually get to that third one, but I bought it just in case. Oh, there's a big hit. That's what I was talking about earlier at one point where you can get 1.4 pet or something off of a 2 pet hit. And so that'll really change the how well we're doing, we'll say. So yeah, right now we're at 6.8 or so, and we're at not 6.8. So right now we're actually ahead for a second, which is nice to see. It doesn't happen very often, and we'll slowly bleed that out as we keep going and getting these skills. But at that point, those skills are free, or I mean, we'll get down maybe down to that 10% loss that we they say you're supposed to hit 90% returns rate. Um, I don't know if it applies to this as much. I seem to break that 90% on a fairly regular basis. Like I'll get 95%. I don't break even too often or break ahead, but the ability to break to hit that 90% mark seems not extremely difficult. when it comes to the tree harvesting. But again, you're able to break it all a tool and part of a tool in 20, 30 minutes. What are we sitting at here? About 20 minutes in almost on the skill pill. And I only took a 10% skill pill. I tried to use the 50%, but I knew we weren't going to get the full use out of the time on this one, so I thought I'd use a lower one, just so that I'm using one and gaining a little bit better skills, but not wasting one of my better skill pills. Oh, looks like I missed one over there. Well, we'll let it be. We'll hit this one, we'll hit that one, and yep, about a tool and a half is what you get here. Looks like. Um, that's probably where we'll. Oh, that was a nice little pull there. 9 times. Then we'll go see how our returns are from this area. They were doing pretty good. I'm excited about it. We're still getting really close to that 2K genetics that I've been trying to push for. Not quite there, but we're definitely making inroads and we're getting really close. And that'll help me with my mutant looting profession and my returns when I do that sort of stuff. Uh, which I really only run into mutants, I think, on Rocktopia for zombies, and on Toland, the Cawfish and the Jeeps, I think, are mutants. All right, and that's all we're getting there. And so, yeah, about 1.5 tools, but we got pretty good returns there. I mean, we're talking 8.26 off of 7.6 tool. And so we're actually up to where it's going to cover our run, our previous run, where we broke 3 tools, um, lost about 75 pack or so. This run will actually bring it back up to where that one was a break even, this one's a break even, and the first one we didn't cost very much. I think we had 90% returns on the first one, so we lost about 1.5 ped, and so all said and done, we're down about 2.5, a quarter ped, between the 6 tools that we've broken so far, throughout our stay here on Rocktopia since we've landed. And then we'll just, since when I'm ready to do a little more tree cutting, I'll literally just buy them back. All right, we gotta unequip that one or it won't let me sell it. So we'll sell those off and we'll sell those off. And that pulled us almost back to even. Anyway, I hope everyone is having an amazing day. Stay epic.